But you can't do simple things like talk to your loved ones. You can't sit on a phone call or even talk to someone without looking everywhere or checking your phone. And just simple things that you used to enjoy are not enjoyable anymore, and that's depression.
With gym, train hard, eat well. With your mental health, cut out consuming. Stop fucking up your dopamine receptor.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the 1% podcast. Today I'm with Roz and I'm with Will, and we're going to be discussing creators versus consumers. And this is something I'm really passionate about, so I'm really keen for this episode. Will, how you going, bro?
Good, man. Good.
Looking fresh with the new tattoo.
That's it. I'm going to sleeve everything eventually.
Show them.
Yeah, I've lost all the definition, but you know.
Roz, how are you, brother?
Doing good, man. Doing good, as per usual.
No tattoos?
No tattoos for me. I'm trying to stay clean and classy.
All right, sweet. So yeah, today, creators versus consumers, this is something I'm obviously really passionate about and I've talked about in heaps of videos, and we're going to go deep with this. So let's first talk about what is the difference between a creator and what is the difference between a consumer. Let's just define it first.
Okay, so basically a creator creates things for consumers to consume, and a consumer consumes things that creators create for consumers.
All right.
In a nutshell.
I think my brain just farted, but so yeah, that's what I've always said. There are creators and consumers, and I think of it like there's almost like a scale. Creators on one end, consumers on one end, and you're just somewhere within that scale. Some people can be, one side, the other side, we can be right in the middle. Okay guys, quick intermission. I hope you're all enjoying the podcast so far. As a lot of you will know, we are not sponsored by anyone. Anything shown or promoted on this podcast was either made or owned by us. So if you are enjoying the podcast, what you can do to support us is hit that subscribe button and click on notifications if you're on YouTube. And if you're on Spotify, you can favorite this podcast so you don't miss out every single time we upload. A new episode is put out Friday, 6 p.m. every week. We talk everything self-improvement from gym, mindset, money, and we try and make every week as exciting as the last one. With that being said, all of the other links to our self-improvement clothing, our socials, and all other projects, it's all down below, so go check that out. But without further ado, here's the rest of the podcast. Thanks for watching. All right, so first let's talk about, is consuming bad? What are your thoughts on consumption? And by the way, guys, when we say consuming, we're basically talking about consuming things like, just consuming anything. You could be consuming TV, you could be consuming apps on your phone, TikToks, Instagram Reels. You could be consuming. Social media is easily the biggest one. But why do you think consuming is bad, and do you think it's bad at all?
I just think because of the effects on your dopamine, consuming just absolutely just kills your baseline dopamine by just absolutely spiking it with just rapid fire content. Like everything has short form content now. You've got TikTok was the start of it, then Instagram adapted to it, YouTube adapted to it. Now I even know Spotify has the scroll format where you scroll through like little mini clips of songs. It's crazy. It's just because it's the attention span just gets reduced every time you consume.
Yeah.
And you can't pay attention to anything else.
That's basically where I think I started the whole creator versus consumer thing, because I was seeing the effects consuming had. And yeah, like you said, it does go back to dopamine and the effects it has on your dopamine receptors. To put it simply, yeah, if you're scrolling all the time, consuming things, all you're doing is consuming things that creators make. And so the creators are feeding you.
Yeah, that's quite literally it. And the creators are the ones that are benefiting off the consumers.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether it be like monetary or just, because it's an attention market now. Because everyone's attention is just so little. People's attention spans are absolutely fried.
And if you can't pay attention, how can you do anything?
That's why it's such an issue, because people just have these such little attention spans that anything that requires a lot of attention, like building a business, going to the gym, staying consistent with stuff, there's no hope because their attention spans are absolutely fried.
Yeah, so not only is it like wasting your time, but it also hinders your success in the future because you can't focus on the simple tasks. So I've noticed a lot of people, if you're in a deep scroll, right, you're in a deep dopamine short form scroll, it's going to be so hard to do anything after that because you basically just completely maxed yourself out. So then when it comes to actually creating things, you have no motivation because dopamine is the motivation molecule.
That's it. Yeah. Well, you got to think of it as like a bucket. You've just got a certain amount of dopamine that you have available to you, and then when you start scrolling, you're just depleting the bucket, because dopamine is the molecule that's responsible for drive and motivation. People seem to think it's responsible for happiness. That's more serotonin.
Serotonin, yeah.
But you deplete this dopamine bucket, and then you've got nothing there. That's why you don't want to continue to do anything else. You're not motivated. Oh, I'm not motivated to go to the gym. Well, that's just because you've just depleted the bucket of dopamine by just like doing this shit all day.
Yeah. And it seems really innocent. Like people can't, it's a lack of knowledge that people have that is really bad too. So they don't understand why they don't feel motivated. They don't understand why, you know, they can't pay attention to things. And that's when they come to things like maybe I have ADHD or maybe I have this and that, but they haven't actually found the core root of the problem.
That's it.
It's a lack of knowledge.
Yeah, so I think everyone like is just misdiagnosing themselves with ADHD, but really it's just the symptoms of ADHD, but it's caused by the consuming of short form content.
Yeah, and it's disguised real innocent too. You know, there's like the TikTok dances and like it's funny, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
Come on, loosen up, bro. Loosen up.
You'll find the mental illnesses are very prevalent on TikTok as well. If you know, if you go on a death scroll from time to time, I know I did back when it first blew up in 2019. And there's all these people coming out of the woodwork saying, "Oh, I have ADHD, I have bipolar, and all these things." And realistically, you don't have a mental illness. What you really have is just a lack of attention span, and that's really plain and simple. I'm sure there's more to it than just attention span, but you guys can probably explain that.
A lack of sustained dopamine. Because like Will was saying, once you deplete that bucket, you have nothing left. You have nothing left, and then you're just left in this sort of dull state.
Exactly. Well, think about how hyper stimulating everything is these days. Like, there's so much stuff going on, and like humans, we're not built for that. We're not evolved for that amount of just those dopamine hits, like straight to the brain. Like, we're used to just waking up. There's like, because evolution is a lot slower than technology's advancing. Like, it used to be you just wake up, you have one mission, kill an animal, eat it, create a fire, eat the food. That's pretty much it. That's all the dopamine you get for the day. But now people wake up, they're just getting like hundreds and hundreds of videos, more than like our ancient ancestors would have ever seen in a lifetime.
Yeah.
And they're seeing all this within fucking 10 minutes of them scrolling in bed in the morning.
Yeah. Like it comes to a point as well. If you think about it, like the average 11-year-old is being exposed to millions of naked women and basically having virtual intercourse with millions of women. The king of an empire back then would not have ever seen that many.
That's it. And
what does that do to a young kid's brain?
Because it's just like a bar that keeps being raised with your dopamine levels. And like, it's like, I've seen everything and I just need to see more. And I need to see more.
Yes. And I've even seen it, obviously, because we're in the creator economy. You've seen it when making your own videos, right? We started off making long form YouTube videos. We all did. Making these long form videos, you didn't really need to edit that much. You put like a few cuts in there and a bit of funny moments, right? But you realize in a matter of about 3 years, we've already had to diverse into short form content and we've had to just keep bumping up the stimulation, right? And I even made a course about this for creators, telling them to like, mate, you've got to make it more stimulating. And it's like a sort of a thing where you're like, it feels morally wrong to do that.
Exactly right.
Because you're taking advantage of the lack. But it's like, it's kill or be killed at the end of the day. And this is what I've always said.
It's you have to do it or you lose out.
That's exactly right. And that's where all creators are at this moment in time. They're feeding the consumers.
Yeah.
Right? They're feeding the consumers and their bad habits. Like, what do we add? Subtitles, sound effects, you know, and then we've got to switch up the camera angles. Like now I've had to add these 3 camera angles so that, you know, people can remain focused.
Subway Surfers clips under the bottom.
Just put Family Guy on the top left as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And you put the stimulating footage underneath, and that is what got me views.
Even in the clips above the Subway Surfers, they've got different sort of events changing. They've got different photos coming up.
I've seen some crazy things now.
All
like
sorts of stuff. Yeah.
I've seen these like random videos of like hydraulic presses.
yeah, the hydraulic press is massive.
Yeah.
Right. But when you're in a consumer state, you're sort of looking at that.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, this is stimulating.
Exactly. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Like you can just get stuck in a trance of just dopamine feeding yourself.
I've even noticed myself as a creator, like if I'm going to go download something off YouTube or, you know, into MP4 or something like that, and it gets put on YouTube Shorts, and I'll just find myself going, nah, and just scroll.
Yeah, you're on it's like...
And then I'm not even thinking for myself at that point, and then I've watched 20 videos, and then that's half an hour down the drain. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? You know, like...
But how do you feel after that scroll?
I feel like I've accomplished absolutely nothing, and that 30 minutes is an absolute waste, to say the
But
least.
I find if I do that, it is so hard for me to get focused on work after it. Because like I said, you're just depleting it.
because the bucket's gone.
The bucket's gone.
The bucket's gone. Because that's all you got. And then after that, it's like that's why people can't pay attention to things that like aren't hyper stimulating. It's like sometimes, bro, you just need to stare at a wall because like that will just calm you the fuck down. And that's like, you can actually stay focused on things that aren't hyperstimulating. Like, imagine someone who's just scrolled away all day, just hyperstimulating, all different topics, all different, like, all these videos. And then they try to go edit a long form video or film a video. It's
But look, I think it goes way deeper than that, right? I don't actually hear too many people talking about it. And that's why I sort of had to put a name on it, which was like consumer versus creator. But I genuinely think it's the biggest problem with young people right now. Because not only can you not edit videos and do whatever, do all the influencer stuff, but you can't do simple things like talk to your loved ones, right? You can't sit on a phone or even talk to someone without looking everywhere or checking your phone, and just simple things that you used to enjoy are not enjoyable anymore, and that's depression.
If you can't control your dopamine, you can't control your life.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do.
It's like I'll be in conversation with certain people and it's like within 10 seconds, they've just pulled out their phone on me. It's like, I'm talking to you, bro. Talking to you. Look me in the fucking eyes. Like, they've just pulled out their phone and gone, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, cool, man. Yeah.
It's the lack of presence that annoys you as well, doesn't it? Like, even me, for example, like, I'll put my hand up and say this. Like, even sometimes in conversations, I'll find myself, my eyes just wandering. Like, I can keep eye contact if I'm very interested. But the second, like, something doesn't pique my interest, it's like, when's the next thing, Yeah. This is why so many people think they have ADHD when realistically,
because they can't focus.
Lack attention span. That's all it really is.
Yeah. I find this in the gym as well. I try to honestly just like cut everything else out and just focus on the movements that I'm doing. Like, I try not to pull my phone out workout, because like if you even pull your phone out, you got like some notification for like TikTok or Instagram and you enter that, like your pump is ruined.
Your pump's ruined.
Your pump is fucking ruined.
The one of the biggest tips I can give for you guys, if you actually are trying to dopamine detox or just trying to lengthen your attention span, is to completely eliminate all notifications. No, I can assure you, bro, you don't need any notifications. None of them. I don't want to hear any of this coping. You don't need any notifications. Not for people messaging you. Not for people liking your posts. Not for people commenting on your posts. Oh, but I need to see if someone messages me. If you really gave a fuck if they message you, you would go on the app and find out, right? You don't need notifications, trust me, because that is the prompt for you to end in an endless fucking scroll and waste your day. I have seen people scroll for hours. And like after that, you can't do anything. You can do nothing.
Bring up the time when you went on Omegle and asked people for their screen time.
Yeah.
Well, one of them was 12 and a half hours?
There was 13 hours.
13 hours.
13 hours.
Wow. Okay. That's just amazing.
A day. That's not a week. In a day.
Well, at that point, you're not even living life. You're living on your little rectangle in front of you, like this fucking screen, bro.
Everyone says they're so concerned about the metaverse and we're going to be living in a virtual world. But
we are already living in
the virtual world.
Living in one. So
yeah. So we'll go a bit deeper now. We'll talk about the intentions of the people behind these apps. What do you think the intention is?
Well, it's an attention economy. It's attention economy, and that's what produces money for these companies, is just people's attention. Like, there actually isn't that many things now with a paywall. Like, there's not much paywalls for stuff now, because the only thing that they get paid for is for you to look at their stuff, because they can just show you ads.
You are the product.
You literally, you're the product. So it's like, if you're stuck in a scroll for 2 hours, how many ads are you going to see? So much. And you're going to get interested in so many topics. You might scroll past something that's like, oh, look at these fucking fidget toys I got. And like, ooh. And you go on, maybe I need a fidget toy. And you buy that. Like, that's money just because you've spent so much time on the apps.
I also noticed that social media is a precursor to porn addiction as well, because if you go, say, for example, on the Instagram Explore page, the first thing you see is naked girls in bikinis. Well, not naked, but you just see tits and ass everywhere. It's like unavoidable. Even when I made a TikTok account and I literally have not gone on a single thing, they just see, 20-year-old male, let's show them tits, and that gets you sucked in, and then you just keep scrolling.
You ever seen on the post, like, everyone just advertising, like even the meme accounts will advertise naked women so that you click on it. I started the 1% Instagram, right? It's a fresh Instagram account, doesn't have any data on it, right? It's all, you go on the Explore page, short tits, ass, OnlyFans models.
You know what's crazy though? I thought I could avoid it by unfollowing pretty much every sort of meme page, every theme page I could. I'm like, okay, so it's just people I know and people I want to follow. But now Instagram's literally released a thing where it's suggested. So there is literally no way to escape it now if you're like on any page.
There is one way to escape it, and this is why I made the creative versus consumer thing, because if you're not creating, you are consuming. You can't just do nothing, right? You can't. If you're doing nothing, you're consuming. There will be something trying to grab your attention. So the only way you can fix that is by creating. Because if you're not creating, you are consuming. And it's that kill or be killed mindset. And it's like, it feels morally wrong, right? But like, this is what everyone else is doing.
It's very difficult as well, because you want to surround yourself with creators. This is why we're very fortunate to surround ourselves with people who are like-minded individuals, right? But for the majority of people watching this podcast, realistically, are you going to have friends that are creators? Not really. Like, what would you say is the percentile base? So would you say there's 80% consumers, 20% creators, or how?
In terms of like a ratio of people right
the
now?
ratio, yeah. That's it.
I think like 99 to 1.
99 to 1.
Wow.
It'd be 99 to 1 for sure. Well, it depends like how far up on the consumer side are they, but yeah, I just feel like the easiest way that you can start escaping this consumerism is just by creating things. And that doesn't have to be, videos. You can create, it's just basically get a hobby. Like you can create, build cars, create cars, just anything you can create and make.
I always like to use the point when it comes to video games, especially. I feel like the whole reason why people do indulge in video games so often is because they lack a purpose in real life. And if you lack a purpose in real life, well, you'll find a purpose somewhere else. So it's very important where you find something that's beneficial in real life. So you're not stuck in the metaverse and you're doing something beneficial in your real life to actually escape your 9 to 5 or day-to-day life. But there's a reason why I'm only saying this on this podcast, because if I was going to say this in any way, shape or form, right, and it's not on this podcast, people just be like, yeah, okay, mate, work-life balance, moderation type of shit. But I'm not talking to those people. And this is the 1% podcast for a reason, because we're going to be talking to the 1% of people. So if you're the 1% of people that are listening to this, good on you. And if this is your sign to stop playing video games and find something worthwhile.
Yeah. But look, this is the big paradigm, right? So we sit here and we tell people, like, create more. But if they are so far down the consumer rabbit hole, they don't have any dopamine left. They don't have any motivation left to hop out of it. It's quite literally a hole that you can't get out of. You got to climb pretty high to get out of that hole, because your dopamine is completely fucked.
Yeah, so there's some people I literally look at and I'm just like, fuck, are they too far gone? Because all they know is just their phone, the consumptions, the consuming shit foods, consuming like...
They have their vape, they have their phone.
Pretty much like...
Vape, phone, wank.
Yeah, it's like, bro, it's like some people where it's like, can you even help them at that point?
But you know what? That is depression, right? When you can't enjoy life, that is depression. And they say work-life balance. What do you consider life? Like you said last podcast, right? What if you enjoy work and then you don't need to escape?
Exactly right.
Why not life?
The whole reason why people are consumers in the first place is because they're trying to escape a lifestyle that they hate. And the way to actually really escape the lifestyle that you hate is to create a lifestyle that you enjoy. And the way you can do that is by making your work fun.
Life setup.
Exactly right. And this is what we're doing with the 1% podcast and any sort of facet that we're endearing in life. Your life doesn't have to be shit. Okay. Your life can actually be fun. Whoa, lo and behold. So
you're not going to be able to enjoy everything if you're just fucking consuming all day. Because you don't have the attention span to even focus on anything. It's like even if you were to go on a holiday, you're in a different country, but you're still looking at your phone 8 hours of the day. So it's virtually the same fucking thing. Like
it's all escapism. It's literally just all trying to escape the real world, because the real world is harder. Let's be honest. It's so much harder. Why would you do that when you can just scroll and just feel way better? Feel way better by just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling.
Exactly. It's even harder to find a real woman to have sex with. So why not just fucking pull your dick?
That's exactly right.
Like how hard is it? This is why so many... I feel like this is why so many people, I'd say people, but I mean men, are so afraid to talk to women in real life now, because they put women on a pedestal through, social media and things like that. And it's a very damaging to the male brain, because when you start to put women on a pedestal, you become afraid of them. And as a man, should you really be afraid of this little 80-pound woman? No. Go up to her, talk to her. She doesn't care. You're not creepy unless you're some bloody ape-looking guy. But seriously, just put in some effort. And I guarantee you, as soon as you go up talking to them, the awkwardness is not going to stay for long. Trust me.
There's not a whole lot of sort of human nature left, is there?
No, it's all
very grim and very dull out there.
I don't know what the future is. Fucking scary. Because
really scary.
Because you literally look back, not even 5 years, people looking at long form videos, YouTubers, and then now it's just instantly gone to this little TikTok dual screen, Subway Surface. So what the fuck can happen in the next 5 years?
Do you know what the scariest part is that the generation, what's the generation? 40s, or it's not millennials, it's
Gen Z.
Anyway, they're going to die off and we're going to have to inherit the world. Who the fuck have we got to run the world? Lil Nas X?
We're fucked.
Who we are so fucked, man. But this is why I think it's so important to step out of the consumer rabbit hole, right? Because us and other people creating are going to be the ones that are...
3 average guys of the podcast, by the way.
3 average white guys of the podcast are going to be the ones that are controlling the world. So that's why I think it's important to hop out of it now, right? It's harder than ever because everyone's so attached to their phones and, all the dopamine activities. But if you can be the one that steps out, like that 1% that steps out and really does something with your life,
It's not hard.
it's not hard. But you're going to be the one running the world, and there's not going to be many of them. So you're going to be a rarity.
If you were just ever so slightly an absolute animal, you can just take over the world, because there are so many people just, I can go into testosterone levels and whatnot, but at the end of the day, there are so many weak-minded individuals that if you just put in a little bit of effort, you stand out massively.
Yeah.
And this is why I actually think that being considered in the top 20% of men is an insult. Because if you're in the top 20% of men, realistically, you're only a little bit above average in terms of what you're actually doing with your life. And there's so much untapped potential there.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. People think it's such an innocent thing, all this consuming and stuff, and they don't think it's a problem. They don't even see that as the reason why they're depressed, why they feel like shit. But like, bro, put down the fucking phone. Stop eating shit food that is fucking up your dopamine levels. Just get your dopamine levels right. That is literally the sole reason for like 99% of your problems and your depression and like why you feel like shit, why you feel unmotivated. People can't fucking wrap their head around it.
Yeah, it's hard for people to do that, obviously. So I think the easiest thing you can do, take off notifications. What's a few things people can do right now to...
So I just say, like, avoid any consuming like the fucking plague. Like, just stare at a wall, bro.
Avoid any activities where you're getting pleasure for no effort. So obviously we've already touched on all these subjects, but another thing I want to bring up is the quote from Fight Club, how we have a spiritual war nowadays, right? The whole war on us is we lack purpose in our lives. There is no purpose. We have everything given to us.
Yeah.
And that's why everyone's mental health is at such a detrimental point, because we don't have any goal to work towards.
Yeah.
So things are changing. The internet is arising. There's things like AI, and the world is shifting beneath our eyes, and it's going to completely change, before our eyes, before 2050, right? And
It should be so quick.
especially, like, I'm sure you guys have probably had your teachers say something similar to you in class when maybe this happened to me in primary school, and they said, your job is going to be something that has never existed before.
Yeah. Like you don't need to do anything these days. And there's actually a rise of kids staying at home. Like you'll notice now 23-year-olds, 30-year-olds, they're all staying at home because they don't need to do anything. These days, you can just literally do fucking nothing. And this is why I even say, if you are, working in the trade and you're a bricklayer, but you like laying bricks and you find purpose in laying bricks and building houses and you're proud of the houses you build, you're a perfectionist in the bricks you lay. Even if you do that, fucking great, man. At least you've got a purpose. At least.
It's going to hit some people like a fucking truck.
Yeah.
Like a ton of bricks.
Bro, some people I know, and they're going to turn like 25, 26. That's sort of going to hit them. It's like, I got to start fucking doing something because...
Yeah.
Wait, I've got to do this for the rest of my life? Wait, what?
Yes.
I don't think some people lack the ability to just like look into the future and to see where you're going to end up.
I think more people nowadays take more time to choose the song on their Instagram stories than they do their actual life path, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, when you grow up, a lot of teachers and people say, you don't need to figure yourself out, and then you just fall into a job you don't want to fucking do. It's like you need to figure out what you actually want to do, how you want to fulfill yourself. But this is why I also say, if you create and you actually build something in the real life, that's gonna automatically lower your attention span anyway, because you've got to do the boring tasks to get to that goal. So naturally, my attention span, like I have a really good attention span now, right? I can focus on conversations for hours long. I can stare at a wall if I want to, for ages, because I've had to do all the boring tasks like writing scripts, doing all the boring things like researching.
That's it. Like, I don't think there's not many people I know that could literally sit on this podcast and just genuinely have a conversation without picking up their phone.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually so bad, bro. So I think if you're watching this and there's one thing you do for the next year, if you're 18, 19, 17, 16, whatever years old, fuck off your phone, bro. I just saw that.
Shit, on the couch.
Yeah, if you're watching this, you're like 16, 17 years old, and there's one thing you do for the next year, stop staring at your fucking phone, go on a dopamine detox, and just try find your purpose. Because that's all you need to do. You need to find something to actually do that's productive for you.
And you'll come to the end of that, right? You will come to the end of that and say, holy shit, like I didn't know how good life could get. You'll actually have good days. You'll feel good for a sustained amount of time. And you'll be able to pay attention. You'll be able to talk to people better. You'll be more involved in conversations. You'll be more of a human and less of just a conditioned robot, a conditioned consumer.
Usually a lot of things as well, I like to have a rule of thumb is that the most boring things out there are usually the most important ones. So obviously, the human mind is always going to gravitate towards the easiest option. You want to be comfortable, right? No one wants to get out of their comfort zone and be uncomfy for a bit. So just bear in mind, if you want to be a hard-minded individual, you don't want to be a weak cunt. Seriously, just do the hard thing. If you have your phone around you when you're doing a task that's very important, chuck it out of the room, honestly. Just get rid of any of these easy distractions out of your life.
Yeah. And I think don't feel bad if you are a consumer right now, because it's not entirely your fault. Like, they spend millions and millions and millions of billions of dollars to grab your attention, right? It's not your fault that as a human, you fell into that trap. You just didn't have the knowledge. So I coach a lot of people, right? Just through DMs and stuff. And I always tell them the first thing you do is just stop consuming, right? And they get really offended because they've attached it to themselves. That's their identity.
Yep.
And they're saying, well, fuck, well, I can't enjoy this. I can't enjoy that. And it's like, you just, no, trust me. Delete it.
Fun, mate. Easy up. Lighten up.
You only have a certain amount of enjoyment. And if you're just enjoying what's on your phone, you're not going to enjoy fucking anything else. Like, that's the problem. That is the big problem. And people think it's so innocent. People don't see that it, like, that is the fucking issue that you have with your whole life. Like, it's just fix your consumerism, bro.
It's silent but deadly. You know, just going back to the Fight Club thing, you know, the real enemy, it's invisible. Because most people have no clue it's there. They have no clue what they're actually fighting against. And this podcast is helping you guys to be awakened to that fact.
Yeah.
And you know what you're fighting. You know what the enemy is now. And this is how you can fight it.
I feel like the self-improvement industry has put a bad name on the whole dopamine detox and stuff, because even they have made the videos so hyper stimulating and made it sort of cringe. And I know there's like a few people talking about dopamine detox and this, and they've been talking about it for a while. And people are going, oh yeah, it's this guy, this self-improvement guy again. But it's like, no, man, like, you got to actually listen to that shit, because it's important and it's what changed all of our lives. I remember, when I was stuck consuming TikToks and all that, I got right into the consumer rabbit hole because I didn't have a purpose. And if you don't have a purpose, what else are you going to do, right? You're just going to look at whatever's on your For You page or whatever, you know? You don't have anything better to do. But I fell so deep down that hole, I started impersonating what I saw in there, right? Depression was encouraged. It was okay not to be okay. You could even see, like, when I gave my story last time, a part of the reason I got so fucking mentally fucked and like got all the piercings, shaved my head, doing a bunch of drugs, I can say it was 80%, even 90% social media.
Yeah, it's because it's literally glorified, bro. Like, it's literally glorified depression and mental illness. Like, you'll look and people will just joke about having terrible mental health. It's like, oh, my mental health is shit, haha. Like, you know, like, everyone's a shit. It shouldn't be that way. Your consumerism has made you like that.
I think a lot of things as well, like, I hate to go back onto appearance, but I think a lot of people's outer appearance definitely does sort of reflect their inner appearance, more or less.
Obviously, you can't always tell from, outside, but it's an indicator for sure. What are the worst ones? What are the worst apps to stay away from?
TikTok, delete it.
TikTok,
fucking delete it.
Delete it.
Even I wanted to upload on TikTok because of like the reach capabilities and the algorithms. It's really good for short form content, but it's not even fucking worth it, bro. It's such a terrible app.
It doesn't promote good content either.
No, it doesn't.
You notice all the self-improvement content I upload onto YouTube, to Instagram, and to TikTok. TikTok is the least prevalent one out of all of them. And the funny thing with TikTok is that it is actually pushed to more people. So if you put that into comparison, right, I should be getting more views on TikTok than I should be on any other platform. But because TikTok, well, let's just be completely honest here, hates you improving your life.
Yeah.
They want you to be depressed, plain and simple. So get rid of fucking
it just
TikTok.
promotes negative content. Like, so me and you went right into the TikTok creator industry. I got like 130K. You were right up there as well.
Yep.
And you noticed you're sort of more swayed to make negative content. And we both fell into that trap of making sort of very attacking videos. So we started talking about everyone on the other side. We're like, fuck this and fuck that, like
More clubs are shit.
Not clubs are shit. The health leaders are fat. And I got like, 13 million views. You were getting millions of views. I was getting millions of views, and people, were getting around it, and then as soon as you start making literally positive content about improving your life, it's just boom, gone. And then I started really trying to make positive content on TikTok, and then I was just banned. And they literally, in written text, an email was sent to me saying that the reason I was banned was because I was impersonating Andrew Tate. I was too close to being like Andrew Tate.
You're too base for your own good.
They said it in their own fucking words.
But my video even got banned just because I made some sort of like edit video how it was like the Tate brothers and then how we're brothers, like the Australian Tate brothers. Seems so innocent, yeah. Banned it because it was just slightly related to Andrew Tate.
Yeah. Even you can't promote diet and you can't promote
Diet
working
culture.
out either. Yeah, that's a no-go on TikToks, right? So it's promoting diet culture and being having unhealthy body standards.
It was
Diet culture and unhealthy.
unrealistic eating habits. That was it. Unrealistic.
How unrealistic is switching up your diet and going and working out for an hour per day?
I could talk about this for years,
But we won't.
we won't. We won't go there. We won't go there.
Plain and simple, TikTok, you don't fucking need it.
Yeah.
You don't need TikTok.
Plain and simple, fix your mental health in 1 week. Eat all whole foods. Delete TikTok. Get off social media. Stop hanging around shit friends. Simple. Done. Oh yeah, and exercise, of course.
Yeah.
How can I forget?
Exercise will fix a lot of it, but it's hard now because even Instagram and YouTube have done the same thing as TikTok. Like obviously the content on there isn't as bad, but even if the content isn't negative, it's still terrible for your dopamine receptors because now all the creators are making it so hyper stimulating. You know, life isn't that stimulating.
That's it. That's
Real
why
life is not that
people's
stimulating.
lives become so stimulating that normal life just seems fucking depressing for most people because like it's not hyperstim, it's not stimulating me. But I would just say like it's easy to tell people to just like don't consume full stop. But I think if there was one thing you to do, stop consuming the scrolling of the short forms.
Yeah.
And if you're going to watch any content, educational long forms or podcasts or audiobooks.
Yeah.
Those are pretty much the only things I'll let myself consume now.
Because realistically, in today's day and age, you can't not consume. Even us as creators, you have to consume some things, right?
Yeah.
For example, how would you guys figure out how to set up this podcast without watching a YouTube tutorial on how to set it up?
Yeah.
So you just need to decide on what things to consume. If you see a homepage video and you see a thumbnail, it's got Ali A's face and he's going like that, or Mr. Beast and he's going like that, don't click on it because it's obviously just dribble. No, you don't need to watch that shit. Obviously, like from time to time, you're gonna fail. You're gonna click on something that doesn't matter, right? But as long as you make the right choice, at least 80% of the time, you'll fix your dopamine and you'll have better mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally making progress towards just consuming less because it's a direct correlation between how much you consume and how short your attention span is. Like me and you joke about this all the time. Like we'll complete some project, like setting up this room, for instance, getting everything right, getting the lighting good, running the cables and all this stuff. We just joke like, bro, no one's got the fucking attention span to even do this.
That's
They
right.
get halfway through and just be like, fuck this, scroll on their phone, just do some bullshit. Like,
And we're not perfect, honestly. We all still get stuck. You know, sometimes it can catch us by surprise. You know, it'll come up with a video and then you're like, hang on, yeah, okay. What the fuck? And all of a sudden we're consuming.
it's good that we call each other out on it though, because we
Yeah.
I was about to say that you need to keep your friends in check. If you're letting your mate just run wildly free, he's gonna fucking hate you. But
He will hate you.
You need to keep him in check. If he's playing video games like 10 hours a day, if he's scrolling on TikTok a bunch, you know, like just let him know about it. And eventually those habits will die out.
But let them know that you have good intentions for them.
Yeah.
Let them know that you had success doing that and that you feel better doing that. And there's like, it's probably gay to talk about that, you know, because men are they don't talk about that shit. It's easy to just be like,
But it's like, people don't even realize that's the problem. That's like, if you were to tell a normal person, stop scrolling, bro, you need to stop watching this short film. They're like, fucking why, bro? I like watching it.
Yeah,
Like, because
they don't know why.
They don't even realize the effects that, like, they don't even know that that's the reason that
and
why
a lot of them don't have the dopamine to even get into why it would be bad.
it's short-sighted thinking, you know, like, yeah.
So yeah, I'd say, TikTok's the worst one. And then just reels and any short form is bad.
Reels and YouTube shorts.
Yeah.
It's just short form, bro. Like, even Daily Dose of Internet, I've realized he sort of hacked the system because he uploads long forms, but they're just short forms within the long form. That's why
I didn't even think about it like
views.
that. Yeah.
Compilation videos.
That's what, compilation videos and stuff. Like, it's realistically, it's just short form disguised into a long form video.
That's why like Ryan Heger and all that at the start had so much success because they were making the videos very stimulating from the start. And then they all die off because then these other guys are making these hyperstim videos.
It's whoever's got the most stimulating content wins, bro.
And that's why I think, do you guys have a lot of faith in society?
No,
Not really, no.
fucking none, bro. Like,
So if we can all agree that none of us have faith in society, I don't think this problem will ever be solved. I really don't. Like, no matter how much I come in here or fucking Hamza or First Man come here and say, you know, dopamine detox, people, like, young men, they're not strong enough to do it. So
There will always be winners and losers in society. And you have to choose whether you want to be a winner or a loser. And the majority of people, they're losers. So it's just all about hanging around the right people, making the right choices. And I know this seems like, easier said than done. But as long as you can resist temptation as long as possible, you will eventually get there. It just takes time.
It's hard though because all these creators, like you said, Hamza, even like Andrew Tate, I would consider, and stuff like that. We're literally battling against multi-billion-dollar companies. You're battling against Facebook. You're battling against who owns TikTok? Shenzhen or some I can't remember.
Who even knows, mate?
But bro, like billion-dollar companies with massive teams driven towards making these algorithms to get people fucking brainwashed. It's like it's an unwinnable battle because there's so little of us and it's such a rarity.
Yeah.
And this content is just fucking nowhere. Like no one knows. 90% of people don't know about most of the self-improvement people except Andrew Tate, but they're chucking him in jail anyway.
They're chucking him in jail. If you go deep down the consumer rabbit hole as well, you don't have your own thoughts. And I talked about this a lot in my old videos, and I haven't been talking about it for a bit, but I think it's even become more prevalent now because I've been coaching people. No one has their own thoughts because you can only have the thoughts that is presented to you, right? You can only get opinions from people who are telling you stuff. So if you're constantly watching TV, you're watching the mainstream, they choose what you think about. If they want to, like for instance, the biggest thing right now, the submarine. The only reason people are talking about the submarine is because it's presented on the news and it's presented here and here. The mainstream is your brain if you let it be.
Yeah, do they even realize that like 300 people drowned trying to flee a fucking poverty-driven country?
Yeah.
I saw that once and no one knows about it. That happened basically the exact same time as the submarine.
So how scary is that when you can't control your own thoughts? But if you step out of this consumer rabbit hole, like I've said, you're sort of on this pedestal where you're looking down and thinking, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, but
what's going on here?
Bro, there are so many people that I talk to and I'm just like listening to what they're talking about. I'm like, you don't actually have anything going on in here. No. It's all just like it's a sheep mindset. It's like you are just the average of everything into one little bucket, and that's like what 90% of people have going on in their brains 90% of the time.
Critical thinking 404. It's people who think they have original thoughts, but really they're just being fed by the news. And funny enough, most of the information that they're being fed is 90% of the time it's a negative. And then they'll throw in some random donation from some charity and then they, oh, look, hey, you know, but realistically, you've just gotten a negative mindset from it. And, you know, I'll notice, especially when I go out, say, into the kitchen and, you know, I'll be talking to my mum or my nana or whatever, the two people I live with, and they're all just, you know, glooming and dooming. And it's not their fault. It's just what they've been fed by the media and how they've been told to feel from the news.
It's just nihilism. And like, it's just everyone's nihilistic now. And do you think society has an agenda to weaken men?
Oh, without a doubt, mate.
Yes.
Okay, but I'm crazy.
Yeah.
I'm crazy for thinking that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to be Andrew Tate.
Yeah, people will call you crazy for that, though.
I think, once you step out of this consumer rabbit hole, it becomes more prevalent that that's exactly what they're doing. Because as soon as you step out and you start speaking about this shit, right, they'll just fucking throw you in jail, they'll cancel you. Because why the fuck would society want strong men? What does that do?
They don't benefit from that.
They don't benefit from that. They make money if you're weak and you just buy everything that you want. You know, you would just say yes to a vaccine, even though you don't know what the fuck's in it. You'll just say yes to everything. Oh, well, my parking's wrong. Oh, yes, I'll pay the fine.
Yeah, but you're an anti-vaxxer.
Bullshit.
You're an anti-vaxxer, though.
Yeah, I'm an anti-vaxxer. Like, you know, it was in some other country, and basically they had good education up until about year 12. But then they found that the students were starting to question the politicians and they were starting to really just say, hang on, what are they doing? So what they did is they cut the education off to about grade 3, I think it was. So basic reading and writing. And then that was it. That was it. They couldn't learn any more. So all they would know how to do is just work. And that's it.
What I'm also curious is what's going to happen when China decides to invade Australia or something like that. And they've got these robot people who only think, I am going to fight for my country, and they don't think of anything else, right? What happens when all these obese people from Australia or America or UK or whatever from the West, and they're weak and they're porn addicted and, you know, they're 30% body fat and they've been thrown around by the wife Susan constantly? Like, what then? That's just, there's almost like, yes, there is an agenda, but at the same time, why would your country want to make you weak if you need to fight for your country? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree, but it's not just your country that try to make you weak. Like, China's trying to make us weak. It's a war tactic.
Yeah,
so
right,
they don't even have to get into this country to kill us.
Because TikTok is owned by China, of course.
Yeah. So TikTok's owned by China, right? But they don't have the same content in China that they do here.
No. In China, they've got educational, militant videos. Over here, it's the complete opposite.
It's just
everything
degeneracy.
to just fuck people's brains up. Just degeneracy.
What's the war tactic called?
Subversion.
So
Psychological warfare.
Yeah, they just use they use subversion so that when they come over here, and they are currently buying everything. They're currently taking over right now, which people don't even realize. They don't even have to fight. They can just come here, and everyone's so weak and just degenerized to the point where they don't have to fight. They've already killed us. They've already killed us because they're not showing the same videos in China. In China, they've got a time limit on their TikTok. They're showing them videos, about, well, like you said, education.
Yeah. So do you reckon the issue's gone too far? Like, can we actually help majority of people get out of the consuming, or do you think it's just only going to get worse?
It's only going to get worse. I want to believe that it's going to get better, but I just don't think it is.
I think it's just really hard because no one even knows it's a problem.
Yeah.
People don't even realize it's a problem. I think that is the biggest issue. It's like just educating people on the actual effects of it.
Yeah.
That's why I think Andrew Huberman is such a great influence on the people.
Andrew Huberman, the GOAT.
He's the fucking god, bro, because he has the scientific knowledge, he has the degrees, he has everything, and he can... But like the thing is, not much people like watch that sort of content.
It's not stimulating.
They don't want to because it's like you hit a point where nothing is stimulating enough for you to even learn anything.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm actually scared for the
Yeah, that's true. People can't learn anymore. No one can even learn anything. And it's once I say it's become so prevalent when you're coaching people as well that it's very hard. It's become so hard as like a coach to fucking get people to do anything because they don't have the attention span.
It's very true. Like, I want you guys, like the viewers at home, to just think about how much information you've actually retained when you've gone on a death scroll session for half an hour and you've just scrolled through all these little videos versus watching a 30-minute video that is packed full of information and actually teaches you something that your brain can really absorb. It's just not in date completely.
And you're trying to fight it as a creator too, like trying to get that retention rate up because you're directly fighting with the consumer to like get their attention, right? You literally look at it as a graph, as a creator. Like I was just looking at the 1% thing. Like the average watch time was 4 minutes for the last podcast. 4 minutes, right? But that's skewed for people like cutting, scrolling and shit. But yeah, you're literally fighting it. You're like, how can I make this more stimulating so I can get people to watch it?
Another thing as well, when you are a consumer, it's not how long you... Sorry, no, let me rephrase that. When you're a consumer, you're constantly thinking of a point in the video where it's time to click off. So if there's one point in the video where it's boring, your brain just tells you off. So it's not really how stimulating the entire video is. It's usually just a singular moment where it gets too boring, not stimulating enough for your dopamine baseline, where it feels like the urge to click off the video is stronger than to stay. So then you click off and then that's what happens.
Yeah.
Bro, I just realized like with YouTube videos, even I got to this point where it's like before you've even watched 5 seconds of the video, you've scrolled down to the comments. And if like you're watching this and this is a short, you're probably looking in the comments as I'm talking.
Yeah.
Like it's because your attention span is just fucking fried, bro. It's like no one could even get through a book. Like if I told someone like, here's a book, try read this 300 pages, they would freak the fuck out.
They would just laugh.
No, bro, literally no one could even finish a book. So I challenge you to literally put this down, buy a book that's educational on money or
Some good books. How to Win Friends and Influence People is a fucking great book. 48 Laws of Power. I haven't read that, but you've read that, haven't you?
That's a really good
book. What's another good one you've read?
If you do get the 48 Laws of Power, don't get the Bible version, please. Just get one that's like enough to condense it. This is not because I'm a consumer, all right? But there is a lot of definitions in the 48 Laws of Power. It's just very unnecessary. It goes back to like in the Roman times and so James P. Bartholomew,
But no, I genuinely think though, like even that is still beneficial because even if it's not even educating you, at least it's not hyper stimulating your brain. Like, bro, that is why it's like just fucking stare at a wall or just do anything. Like, just, even if you're not interested in it, good. Read a book and just get your baseline back to a fucking normal level.
Yeah.
Old people are really good for this because old people didn't fry their brain when they were younger into this hyper stimulation. That's why, like, if I can have way better conversations with adults and older people because they haven't like I can't talk to most people my age.
They don't whip their phone out 10 seconds into the conversation.
Fucking fast.
It's not even the whipping the phone out. Like, it's just the lack of attention and like it's like when you're talking to them, they're not retaining anything. They're not getting what you're saying at all.
Yeah, like it'll literally
They're in La La Land.
or they'll just make like these weird like irrelevant jokes like if you're trying to have a serious conversation with someone, you'll be like, yeah, bro. So basically, like. This is why you shouldn't consume, and this is...
Then they've got to think of their own individual thoughts.
They make some stupid...
That's too intimidating.
It is.
Young people being left with their thoughts. That's too intimidating for them.
That's when the escapism...
That's when the escapism comes in and just saves them. Because they don't need to think about anything. They can just scroll and blah, blah, blah.
So yeah, also touching on escapism, it can come in many shapes and forms. So, for example, not to try and diss my mate Lockie behind the camera, but he himself even admitted this. There's some times where, there's silence. Oh my god, there's no stimulation. Oh my god forbid, right? And then so he has to put on music,
Yeah.
right? Just for some noise, something that cancellates his thought pattern, because let's be completely blunt and honest here, if you're not enjoying your day-to-day life, you're going to try and supplement that with something else.
Think about, so you basically you're sat there consuming, right, for like a year or whatever. And basically I just feel like you're just backlogging all your thoughts. So that when you do like have that moment of silence or moment of no stimulation, it's like, whoa, what the fuck's going on in my head? This is like, I'm thinking shit right now. This is weird.
It's crazy. I know all these layers. It's like you'll go in the shower, you'll have music on. You might even use your phone in the shower to like do. Like, I even got to this point where like I would literally like try scroll in the fucking shower. It's like,
Jeez.
what are you doing, bro? It's purpose to fucking clean yourself, not fucking scroll, bro. It's dopamine layering. Like when you're in the gym, you'll have music on in between sets. You'll scroll. You'll
Have a vape.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Like,
Bro.
I'm an absolute gym addict, and I used to not take pre-workout. I literally would just go to the gym, get on my backpack, grab some water, and that'd be it. Even sometimes not even, like, no music, God forbid, like, but now I have to, get everything ready. I have to put on my clothes. I have to drink pre-workout. I even have pre-workout before this podcast just to talk efficiently, but that's besides the point, just... There's, like Will said, there's so many layers, and once you reach a new layer, it becomes your baseline. And you want to make sure your baseline is not something that's detrimental to your life. This is why people get addicted to certain things. I almost see pre-workout as a new baseline layer because, in a way, caffeine is obviously addictive. And whenever I have someone at the gym come up to me and they say, "Oh, should I start taking pre-workout?" I say, "No." Just
don't
stop.
get into it.
Don't get into it.
Once you start taking pre-workout, that just becomes the new you, and there's no going back from
It's
it.
pretty much layering. I think it's the easiest way to get out of consumerism. It's like just start like taking layers out. Like if you're going to the gym stimmed up, you got your phone, you got your music, like just take one of that out of the equation. Or if you're like, I think this would be like the ultimate fucking consumerism is like you're in bed scrolling with music on, with a movie on, FaceTiming someone with a vape.
Yeah.
Take one thing out at a time and just learn to just have your baseline at a level where it's just sustainable. You don't have to have all these fucking things going on.
Yeah, and just even if you sit there so frustrated and so just, you get like irritated because you feel that urge to just be stimulated, and you get irritated and sort of annoyed and like sad almost. But you just push through that, I think. And this is where like jobs as well and 9-to-5s, I think, that are good because you're not allowed to be on your phone. You're not allowed to be fucking constantly stemmed up. And bosses are having a massive issue with this right now, that young people, they can't sit there and do their work because they pull out the phone and they like hide and they scroll and whatever.
Yeah, I actually feel that's almost a hack to lower, keeping your baseline dopamine at a healthy level. Get a job where they don't let you go on your phone. Like when I was doing bricklaying, like fuck, bro, my phone was in my lunchbox because I would just get reamed if I was on my phone. It's kind of a little hack because it's like you're forced to just pay attention to these boring as fuck things.
Yeah.
Which it'll definitely help out your mental health. It'll help out your dopamine.
And going back to that, feeling of being sad all the time, this too shall pass. Like if you're having a quote unquote dopamine valley, right, which is a new term I sort of learned, is if you're going up a dopamine urge, you get that feeling, and then you go into a dopamine valley. So when you get into that dopamine valley, that's when you experience the urge to get out of that negative sort of mindset. But here's the thing. If you just stay there for at least 5 to 10 minutes, just, for example, if you're getting an urge to be or me, just sit there. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Right? Even maybe just audibly just say no. So you're speaking to your mind. No, it's not going to happen.
We were talking about this before.
You just sit there and you eventually come back to baseline. So just try not to be prey to your own sort of thoughts.
I reckon like spend like a week or a month or just something where it's just like you're just so fucking harsh on yourself just trying to cut these things out.
Yeah.
Like I'll literally just out of nowhere pick my phone up and I'll like go to click on the app and I'll be like, no, bro, and I'll fucking chuck my phone. I'll be like frustrated with myself.
Yeah.
It's healthy to build those habits though.
Yeah, just create yourself an environment that is not going to be distracting. Like even just little extensions, like you've got some good extensions on your computer.
Extensions. Well, I know there is one that Hamza sort of brought up. It's one for YouTube, especially.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it gets rid of the thumbnails, or it blurs out the thumbnails.
Blows out the thumbnails and gets rid of the homepage.
Yeah, right. And the reason why this one is so genius is because what really grabs your attention as a consumer is the thumbnail. So say, for example, you see Mr. Beast going, and then you see tits and ass in the same thumbnail, and there's like fluorocolored lights everywhere, right? You're going to want to click on it, but you don't see that thumbnail. And the thing you do see is the title of the video, which is the main component to actually sort of gather whether this is a video worth clicking on. So,
Yeah.
for example,
Some
if
videos
you-
don't even look at the titles.
Exactly right. So if you're only looking for the titles and it says how to fix your dopamine versus Aliyah's video, Fortnite new item shop, which one are you going to click on? You're going to click on the one for dopamine. But
Yeah.
for example, if you go and look on Andrew Huberman's sort of thumbnail, it's boring, right? Let's be real. But you look at Aliyah's one, he's doing the whole soy face with, like fluorocolored lights everywhere. So that's the epitome of it, really.
I think it's just being aware, though. Being aware of like what you're doing with your day. Are you spending it just consuming fucking bullshit all day?
Yeah.
So it's just like spending all day being actually aware of what's affecting your mental health.
Yeah.
Do you think you should delete TikTok or just leave it there and actively avoid it? Because I think deleting something's easy because it's not.
Yeah, it is easy, and I feel like you'll fit in other dopaminergic activities to fill that up. But I think it is good though. I think it is good to just delete it because you're not tempted.
But then again, like I've noticed, I deleted TikTok a while ago and then it just switched to Instagram Reels.
Yeah.
I'd say, to be honest, if you're considering deleting something to get rid of it, I would say always delete it because it adds more friction to going back to your addiction. That was a bar. But it adds more friction to going back to your addiction. So it's another thing I read in another great book. It's called Atomic Habits. And in it, essentially, it tells you to create your habits that are negative to your life and make them invisible. And the habits you want to make a prevalent part of your life, make them obvious.
Yeah.
So, for example, let's just say, for example, I want to do more work on the computer. I want to grind out more shorts. I'm going to make my wallpaper, say, for example, like a reminder of doing a short, like editing a short for a day. Then, for example, if I'm vaping, which I don't, fucking vaping is the most queer shit of all time. If you have a vape, just chuck it in the bin or chuck it in some other room.
Yeah.
Right? Just simple things like that.
Yeah, a little hack for you guys. Just your home screen on your phone, delete any app that is of no use to you. So I think mine is pretty much now, I just have my reminders. I have my little Shopify page which shows how the shops are going. And then I think I have Google Docs and I might have YouTube on there.
Yeah. Another one, an old school hack, is just literally set yourself so many tasks that you don't have time to consume, right? And that's basically how I did it, is I've got so much I want to do and so much little things to do to get to my main mission, right?
Exactly.
That I don't have time to sit on my phone and scroll. Like, that's a waste of my time.
Dude, I'm looking at the clock and if I'm scrolling, that clock's ticking by and I'm wasting time.
It ties in with jerking off and porn and everything as well. Like the whole social media, porn, junk food. When we say consuming, all that stuff ties in together. So you can interpret this in any way, shape, or form you need to, depending on what type of addiction you have, of course.
Yeah. All right, guys. So let me know if this describes you. What are the effects of low dopamine?
Feeling tired, moody, unmotivated, or depressed.
I feel like that is so many people. And the reason for that is because you're a consumer. It is literally because you're a consumer. That's it.
It's quite literally as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. And that is the biggest problem. Because if you can't sit there and enjoy life, life is all you got. So what are you doing?
It's like how people spend 13 hours screen times. Like they spend 13 hours on your phone. It's like how much of that is actually enjoying and living life?
Will, can you give us a little breakdown on how to actually efficiently ruin your life?
Download TikTok, download Instagram, and just make sure you only consume short content. Okay, now what you're going to do after that, you're going to go and you're going to buy a vape. One of those little I Get ones with the fancy little drawings and shit on them. Puff on that all day, scroll all day, and
Listen to your emotions.
What about video games as well?
video games. Make sure you play those as much as
Played
possible.
that loads of times.
To be honest though, I'd say video games are still better than scrolling.
Yeah, because at least...
I don't know.
I'd say, honestly, any form of instant gratification is shit.
They're all
Let's
shit.
Let's not just try and accept it here.
I know,
It's all
but
shit.
Let's not put any of them in a hierarchy. Let's just say they're all shit.
Yeah,
Love
but it's like, bro, just like find a purpose. Just live how we would used to live back in the day.
And another thing is just stop being a fucking pussy, right? So people always say, like, well, what about like just 5 minutes? Just 5 minutes. What about just 2 minutes? Like, I don't do it that much. Like, what? No, just don't do it at all, bro.
Too many people are coping nowadays, and it refers back to the last podcast, the first podcast we had, where you especially said that the people who are suffering from their lifestyle are the ones that defend it. And when you're constantly scrolling on TikTok, blah, 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 and you're depressed from it, they have no idea they're depressed from it, but they'll always defend it and say, oh, but it's just a bit of fun after work, but they don't realize that's the symptom of their depression.
Exactly. There's probably people like listening to this podcast just having these little micro thoughts about, oh, you know, I need a little bit of consumerism in there. I need to balance out my life and shit. It's like, no, bro. Like, this is how you will fix your mental health. If your mental health is fucking shit, this is the answer. Like, stop being so fucking easy on yourself. Like, bro, you need to change
That's
shit.
toxic masculinity.
It is not. It is fuck me, man.
But this is what society will push too. If you're not feeling it right, they will say, go take a break, go and escape. You know, you need to go on a holiday. You need to go and relax, watch some TV. Well, just that's the complete opposite of what you should do. You should fix the core. Why don't you fucking fix the core and you won't have to escape?
I made a little video as my insult to GigaChat transformation that did very well, and I'm still getting loads of comments on it to this day. And the first prompt at the start of the video, when I was like feeling shit about myself, whatnot, doing the wrong things, the wrong habits, you know, just looked like a bloody femboy. How do I fix my depression was the first prompt. And I sort of realized early on that the way to fix my own depression is to become a better version of myself. Because I'm not any stranger to shit mental health. I've been to psychologists. I've gone through therapy. I've even fucking tried antidepressants, like shit like that. I'm telling you guys, this shit does nothing. It will literally make your life worse. The only time you should ever try antidepressants is never. Honestly, like
No, you don't, dude. It's just masking it. I've got beef with antidepressants too because they will feed that to like 10-year-old kids, man.
It's terrible.
Like, what the fuck's going on, bro?
With the whole antidepressant thing, though, it's like looking for the easy way out because people don't want to make changes in their actual life. So it's like the same with the gym. Like, literally the most common question I get is, what supplements do you take?
Yeah.
It's like, bro, it doesn't fucking matter. Just train hard and eat well. Yeah. But that's like the harder thing to do. People
What is the quickest way I can get out?
Yeah, it's like people just want to fucking take a supplement or take a pill to fix their depression. It's like, no, fix the foundation first. So it's like with gym, train hard, eat well. With your mental health, cut out consuming. Stop fucking up your dopamine receptors.
Yeah, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel too. Like, that's just an important thing to say. Like, it does get better if you solve the issue.
Bro, it does get better. It's like, I've been on both sides of the coin. I felt like shit. I was an absolute consumer. I didn't fucking take an antidepressant to fix that. I didn't need to go to therapy. I just changed my habits, lived a healthier life. Because a healthy body is a healthy mind.
Exactly right. And I do not want to hear any closed-minded individuals that are suffering from depression coming to this comment section or commenting down below saying depression is all hormonal imbalances. It's a chemical imbalance in the brain. We've all experienced depression here.
Yeah, that's why I hate when people come at me. Like,
exactly right.
You can't say this. I have been there.
We've all been there and we've done that and we've escaped that situation. If you're going to argue that it's all to do with the chemical imbalance, clearly you just want to be depressed.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Like,
be
they'll
depressed.
Defend it too.
But
Defend yourself and be depressed.
when people say it's a hormonal imbalance, I don't think they're wrong, but it's like, it's not like that's just out of thin air. You've created that imbalance.
And it's not like it's permanent either. Why don't you just fix the balance?
You fix it. Your diet, your fitness, your habits, get that sorted, and it'll just disappear.
Yeah. So I want to talk about something as well. So I think genuinely, right, and I just want to put a disclaimer before this. I don't have anything against, you know, anyone that is homosexual, pansexual, demisexual, like submarine sexual or whatever else they've got.
Sexual.
Anyway, I don't have hate in me, right? Because I am on the journey of self-improvement. I literally don't have hate in me, and that's what happens when you just don't. I genuinely think the only reason that shit is so promoted, and I will say promoted because it is promoted and accepted now, is because of the media and because of consuming, right? Like we said before, you don't have thoughts. You don't have authentic thoughts if you are a consumer. No. And I argue with people with this, and I know it makes me seem like a bad person, but I'm just, once again, trying to be authentic.
You're just being truthful, man.
I'm being truthful and I'm producing my own thoughts.
Yeah, right. So I know there is a statistic that explains that from every generation, I think it's going up by 20% in...
No, it doubles. Every generation, the
LGTB community is doubling almost, like every single
generation.
Generation, yeah, for real. So I'm pretty sure by 2050 we're going to be in the minority of people that are straight.
Being a consumer and having these bad habits, it will fuck up your hormones. So you're going to get in this middle ground where you have so much estrogens and such little testosterone that you then are going to start questioning your gender.
I also want to argue that we're evolving too quickly to the point where our brains can keep up. And this is why, you know, all these... I didn't want to talk about this, but I feel like I have to say it because it's real. It's honestly the truth, and I want to be authentic. I honestly see kids getting their dicks cut off at 7 years old and want to just... What are you doing?
It's really scary.
And it's not it's not the kids' fault. It's really not. It's what they're being fed through consumerism, along with terrible responsibility of their parents. Viewers watching this video, you're going to have kids one day. And you need to understand that there is a degree of responsibility when you're raising a kid to feed your kid the right knowledge. If you're going to be feeding your kid shitty food, giving them an iPad at 5 years old, things like that, don't be surprised that they're going to turn out being pansexual. Okay?
Yeah.
That is not their fault. That is your fault and your fault only.
And that's why they're going to get to that middle ground and start questioning the gender. And then because the parents are so conditioned by the media and the mainstream to say, that's okay, we accept that, you know, and they've got all these different definitions. Like maybe we define you as pansexual. That requires you to cut your dick off and start, you know, going to parades and shit.
Bro, I'm fucking so concerned for the future because the main thing I see when I see people that are just fucked up in their head is they're going to be terrible parents. I think like this, like 70, 80, 90% of the population are just going to be fucking terrible parents.
And that's going to make the kids even worse, man.
Do you reckon, are you going to send your kids to school, would you say?
It's going to be a hard decision because at the same time, you don't want your kid to be completely socially inept. You want your kid to have a normal upbringing, but the way society is going within what they're actually feeding our kids in terms of knowledge, it can be very dangerous. Obviously, it does depend on what type of school you're going to send your kid to. If you're going to send your kid to a normal government-guided sort of public school, expect the worst. If you want to raise your kid within your own sort of beliefs, go ahead with homeschooling. Just don't expect your kid to have positive mental health due to just social interaction. Humans need to talk to others.
Public school, man, like if you go to the library, you can find books like Queer Chameleon, Rainbow Monkey or some shit. Like what the fuck is that doing to your kid? And people are going to attack me now. They're going to attack me and say, you're not allowed to believe that, you know, being gay is weird or being pansexual is weird. It's like, why do I have to believe? Like, if I'm not allowed to do that, why do I have to accept that you're gay or whatever? If I'm not allowed to think my own.
It has absolutely nothing to do with hating people. It has all the matter to do with having your own opinion and expressing your own beliefs.
Like when you are sending your kids to a public school and they're reading shit like Queer Chameleon, Rainbow Monkey and shit like that is damaging. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Shove your acceptance shit up your asshole, because who was accepting me when I wanted to make a YouTube channel or accepting me when I wanted to do something with my life?
I think definitely like you could send your kid to, I feel like sports clubs or even...
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, bro, I don't even know. Like
within us men and boys, especially, when you're stuck in the school system, it's going to be extremely detrimental to the way you navigate life. This is why I feel like women and girls especially succeed within the schooling environment, because they don't feel like they're sacrificing anything where they're sitting down, you know, being reserved and putting their hand up to speak, because that is naturally within their submissive and feminine energy, right? But if you're a male, right, you're going to feel the need to get up out of your chair. You want to, you know, fuck around. You want to push into the boys.
You want to fight. You want to show aggression.
Exactly right.
It's naturally within you.
You want to play sports. You want to do things that excites you physically. Yeah. And when that gets taken away from you from such a young age, it leads to
emasculization. Yes. Basically castrating you.
Yeah, exactly right. The amount of times, and I'm not saying this to brag or anything, right? But the amount of times I've had to, you know, argue with teachers, or even gotten to the point where I'm so frustrated with certain teachers when I was in school, I was almost at the point where I want to just hook them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's completely, it's just not the right way to teach men, I think, the school system now, because our physical evolution hasn't kept up with all this.
You know?
So like, we still want to conquer. We still want to go out there and lead a tribe. We still want to go out there and like kill animals and just do shit like that. Yeah. So I definitely think that's the route I'm going to send my kid down. Like going out and just conquering your own stuff.
Just a very disciplined lifestyle.
Independently, yeah. I'm not giving my kid any devices.
Yeah, but you know what? You're crazy for that. You're crazy.
I don't give a fuck,
You're
man. I'll move to...
You know what? I'm still dealing with the effects of that, though. Like, for instance, when I was in school, how old was I? 16. I was 16 and I got into a fight, right? I went to the police station. I'm on probation still. Until I'm 21, I'm on probation, right? What the fuck? I'm a kid with natural testosterone. Of course I'm going to get in a fight. If I don't agree with the kid, of course I'm going to fight him. And now I'm dealing with the real world consequences because of that.
And it's just like a natural instinct. That's why I think it's so damaging. The public school and the way that's taught and the way it just sort of just molds you into a certain way.
So obviously it's not good if everyone's running around like punching each other, but
Exactly
maybe that's why boxing and Muay Thai is such a great route.
Yeah.
You know?
It gives you a route to express your inner masculine sort of feelings in a fashion that's actually legal. You know, like you don't have to go out into the streets and kickbox someone to death and get put in fucking jail for it. You know, like
you can still persuade your masculine energy through doing tasks that are, just conquering your purpose. You don't have to fight, you can just conquer your purpose.
Men always need competition, right? And this is another thing going back to the whole video games thing. If you're not getting competition within real life, you're going to seek out competition in another fashion. So I'd argue if you're very much into playing video games, try and substitute that for actually playing a sport.
Yeah.
If you're not already. Obviously, I feel like I get a certain amount of competition within, the YouTube realm. I'm always competing with other YouTubers to try and get the most subscribers, whatnot. But if you need that within a physical realm, I would argue that getting into a martial art is the most important thing out of all the sports, because it is actually what benefits you after, say, the age of 18. Because, when you're growing up, and you're a kid, obviously martial arts isn't really going to pique your interest as much because you want to play sport, you want to throw around a ball, right? Because you're young.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to compete at a higher level within a sport, so whether that be soccer, AFL, basketball, whatnot, I highly recommend getting into a fighting sort of martial arts or discipline, because it is what is going to give you the real life skills to, say, defend your family from an incoming intruder.
Yeah.
But that's toxically masculine, so...
and if you're a parent that sends your kid to do that, you're toxic masculine. You're crazy. You're
I honestly think, but like you got to set goals. Like some people, they get into like the gym, for instance, but they're just sort of in there because they know they probably should be. They don't actually set a goal. So it's like, bro, just set anything. Like what you want your bench press to get to. What you want your deadlift to get to. Do you want to bulk to a certain way? Do you want to cut down to a certain way? Because once you've got like a perfect, crystal clear goal in your mind, then that's like, what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know that you want to get to that point and you're going to show up every day and do that. It's like, just like set goals, bro. That is the best thing for your mental health.
I like to follow this quote, and I've always lived by this when I go to the gym. You can apply this to any facet of life, but there are people who go to the gym to say they've gone to the gym, and then there are people who go to the gym just to make sure they are progressing every single time they go. And I've noticed there's a huge influx, especially within this Tate era, where, it's like, get into the gym, lift weights. This bald-headed misogynist is telling everyone to, lift weights and whatnot and be ultra productive. But you can tell the fake from the real. You can tell when someone really wants it versus doesn't want it.
Yeah.
I talk to certain people at the gym. It doesn't matter who the fuck you are. I'm not calling out anyone. But I can literally just look around and tell if someone wants to be there. They go to the gym and they train a little bit of upper body. They do some bicep curls and then they fuck off.
Yeah.
Like if you really want it, you're going to make sure to dial in everything. And it's just all to do with how much you want things in life. If you're listening to this podcast and you're feeling a little bit on the edge, like, I don't know, like, I kind of like my TikTok and vapes a little too much, then fuck off.
Then again, though, we do want them here because consumers, because of their habits, have led them to them not wanting to do anything. So that's why they don't want to do it. That's why they don't want it bad enough.
My argument is that you should want to escape this lifestyle. If you inherently know it's not for you, obviously I'm not going to say fuck off if you're not 100% in. Not everyone's 100% in, realistically, right? But if you know deep down in your heart that it's not for you, then that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
If you're someone who feels like, their temporary gratifications mean too much to them, that's when I say, okay, you know what, maybe this is not for you. Because like you sort of expressed earlier, when you're a creator, would you say it's somewhat genetic or?
Yeah, I've argued this in my videos. I think it is somewhat genetic. Like, you just look at your parents. I literally just look at your parents and what are they like. But like, obviously don't use that as an excuse, but like our dad is a fucking engineer, right? He makes shit. He like makes rocket ship, little mini rocket ships. He
Definitely a large portion of it
is genetic.
I think it's very similar to the gym though. Like you could argue genetics plays a big part in the gym, but it's like you can still get far even if you have bad genetics.
Yeah.
So it's like even if you're not genetically wired to be a creator, you can still take out the bad habits. You can still cut out the consuming and you can still at least fucking try. Like why would you not try?
Yeah.
It literally fixes your mental health.
Like fucking Hayden, right? He's dyslexic. He's still doing the shit and he's still producing great content.
People find any excuse not
how easy would it be if you just use that as an excuse? It's just be like, I'm dyslexic, can't do it,
leave no excuses for whatever endeavor you decide to go into in life. You know, just because you have a minor fault, just because there's one little thing that's lacking. You know, I uploaded a story a week ago on Instagram, and I just said, you know, so what if people think you're gay for posting a video? You know, like, or what are your friends from high school going to think?
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's gay. Oh, you know, like, who gives a shit? If you think it's cool, I guarantee you other people are going to think it's cool as well.
Yeah.
And that's how you get over that barrier. There's always going to be a level of friction when, say, for example, you want to be a creator, you want to make stuff, you know, because all eyes are going to be on you. Whether that, you know, it doesn't matter how much views you've got. You're putting yourself out there, and that's scary to some people. But I'm telling you, there's a reason why it's scary. And things that are hard and scary are usually the things that need to be done the most.
Yeah, literally. It's so easy to use that as an excuse as well. It's like, what will people think of me? It's like, if you wanted it bad enough, you wouldn't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's like I've come to that point now. I've literally come to that point. You have, Hayden has as well. There was so much point where we sort of be like, we know what are people going to think of us, you know? But what if we say this? But like, what if we say that? But then we've literally gone so far into it now that we're like, you know what? Just fuck it. I'll have no friends if that's what it means to be successful. I don't give a fuck.
Exactly, because if that's all you want, why does that shit even fucking matter?
It doesn't.
It's like, why does Jimmy from high school saying some shit about you to his friend group even matter to you if in the future you're not even going to want to even be involved in that?
The less you care about what people think about you, the more people will evidently think about you in the long term. Whether that be, you know, obviously, when you think about someone thinking about you, it's never, you know, bad publicity can be good publicity eventually.
Yeah. I like to sort of use this rule. It's like the vision you have in your mind of where you want to be in 10 years, the people that you're afraid that are talking shit about you, are they even going to be involved in that life? Because if not, why the fuck do you care?
They're just going to be another hater in your comment section.
Exactly. Like, you can almost just laugh at them. It's like if you don't want them involved in your life, sick. Don't even think about them.
And you're going to find new friends along the way too. Like, how much good friends have we made in this past year of doing this hardcore, you know? It's so much better, and they're positive people too.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's like groups of people that I used to know, they're like bickering on the side about, look what these fags are doing. Like,
anyway, guys, I think we'll wrap it up there. We've had a great episode, and we've discussed more than enough. Will, did you enjoy this episode?
Yeah, I enjoyed this episode, and I really hope it actually motivated some people to just get off their ass.
Yeah.
Because that's the sort of the main purpose, really, that I want to have on this podcast and just have on posting content, is just trying to get people off their ass.
Yeah.
And just going out there, finding a purpose, improving their physical health, improving their mental health, because that's what we need in this society, because everyone's fucked.
I really hope it does motivate people as well, but make sure when that motivation does run out, discipline carries on. Because I have surrounded myself with certain individuals throughout my lifetime, and I've gotten them on the right course of action. But as soon as I evidently leave their life, things like, you know, putting on a little bit more pounds happens, you know, indulging in the wrong habits happens, you know, whether that be due to their own inner mechanisms in their own mind, or just due to the certain people that they're surrounding with. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people, make sure you're disciplined, and just, if you feel like something is the wrong thing within your mind, make sure to do the right thing. And it's as simple as that. I don't need to overcomplicate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop fucking consuming.
Just stop consuming.
Stop consuming. That's the motto of today's video.
Comes down, really just does come down to that. And I think that might be your main problem. And even if you don't like three of us, you know, even if you're like, you know, fuck, who do these guys think they are? They're only 19. The fact is, we're spreading awareness. And that's, I think that's enough. As long as you're aware of the things that are happening, that's fine. You cannot like us.
Yeah, the fact is, the less consuming you do, the more driven you're going to be to want to do everything else.
That's it.
That's just how it is. That is just what's neurologically wired into our brains.
Yeah.
It's the science.
Yep. Awesome. We'll leave it there, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this episode, and I hope you got something from it. If you did, smash that subscribe button if you're on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, you can save this to your playlist. We upload every Friday, 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And I'll see you boys in the next episode. Peace.
See you, boys.